All right, everyone, so in this video, we are going to get this Honda water pump. I'm gonna show you how to install it. This will be on the K24z7, so it should apply to like the CRVs, the Civic SIs. So yeah, let's get to it. This OEM Honda water pump, I mean, you just can't beat OEM. Got it from Honda Parts Now for $97, can't beat that. Doing this as a preventative maintenance. Honda recommends, I believe, every 7 years or 150,000 miles. This car has 185,000 miles, and I don't know when it's been changed. If it's the original water pump, it's already 11 years old. So let's go ahead and lift the car up. So actually, before we lift it up, we're gonna take off the serpentine belt. To remove the belt, I'll be using this nice serpentine belt tool that I got from Harbor Freight. It's pretty neat. So it's a 14 millimeter. You're gonna go to your tensioner right there. We'll get you guys right there. And you're gonna just move your tensioner and pull the belt off. So we're gonna drain the coolant now. There is the drain for the radiator. See? So you're just gonna go ahead and crack it loose. Next, you're gonna want to remove the wheel. Next, you're gonna want to take off your wheel liner. As you can see, mine is zip tied. I will be replacing it with the proper clips here in a bit. But let's remove this wheel liner. So the water pump sits in the car like this. You're gonna go ahead and loosen all of your 10 millimeter bolts. You might have to spin the pulley so you can gain access to reach some of the bolts. You're gonna go ahead and get a 10 millimeter and loosen those up. So the workspace is pretty tight in here. I'm gonna go grab a floor jack. I'm gonna have to loosen the motor mount and tilt the engine up this way so we can gain some room. So let's go ahead and do that. So you remove your 3 bolts on your upper torque mount, which are here and there. Then you're gonna undo the 17 millimeter bolt that holds this bracket to the mount. And then you're gonna have 2 19 millimeter bolts that go to the bracket here on the engine. You're gonna have a little ground cable here, just a nice 10 millimeter. Go ahead and zap her off. So to get the rest of the bolts off, or to get the rest of the mount off, you're gonna have that 17 millimeter bolt, that 17 millimeter bolt, and then you're gonna have these 2 guys. They look to be about a 14. I'll confirm on that. And you also got another one right there. So you're gonna go ahead and loosen those. So now that the mount is out of the way, you're gonna go ahead and jack the engine up. Before you loosen this though, make sure you have it supported. Here I've got my floor jack with a wooden block on the oil pan. So I'm gonna go ahead and jack her up. So there we have her. Here are the bolts you're gonna want to remove. So it is a tight space to work, be warned. But by removing this mount and jacking it up, it's definitely workable. So let's go ahead and loosen those 10 millimeter bolts. So here's the old water pump. You'll simply just pull it out from the bottom right there. There you can see where it sits. So we're gonna just go ahead, grab the new one, slide it in, bolt it all up, and reassemble. So for the bottom water pump bolts, I highly recommend you get to them from the bottom here. So there's gonna be that one, that one, that one, and that hole over there. And then bring the car back down and then get the other 3 up top. While I was here, I did an oil change as well. So now we're gonna get this motor mount in. I'm gonna show you guys a little trick here so you can line everything up and not have to worry and fight it, because I know it can be very aggravating sometimes. So you're gonna grab your mount. First thing you'll do is just set it in. You do have a AC line and some brake lines in the way, so you just kind of be careful and work your way around them. Kind of pull that back a bit. Slowly drop it in. All right, now you're gonna get your bolts. You're gonna go ahead and just run these in by hand and leave them loose. You do not want to tighten them down all the way. course, line it up first in the hole. You just run it in a couple turns in by hand. Then we'll get this other side. Now you're gonna grab this aluminum bracket here, kind of tuck her away around. Ooh, I'm missing a clip here. I need to adjust that. Set that in right there, and these are 14mm bolts. All three are identical. Go ahead and run this one in by hand. Run this guy here by hand. Just get a few threads. Doesn't need to be snug or anything. You still want it to be loose. And we're gonna get this last guy. The little windshield washer reservoir can get in the way, so you just kind of gotta be careful with it. Move it to the side a bit, but you don't want to break it. Just kind of run this guy in. So this bracket here, make sure you line it up. See, there's a nice little hole there. Goes with that little dowel pin. So you're gonna want to just run it in here. Get your nut. Get that a little loose. Get this guy here. Run that one in. Wait, yeah, it was that one. The smaller one goes over here. Set her 10 aside. So now what you're gonna do is you're just gotta move this engine by hand here, and then you move your mount, which is still loose, and you can kind of get it all to line up here. There we go. Start getting it in. You want to make sure you don't get two turns in. You know, you want to make sure you get good thread engagement so you don't strip anything. So we're gonna get down on her. So we're pretty good. All right, now we can get a little ground cable here. And this guy here, you feel free, just snug it down all the way, as this will not affect the alignment. Boom. Upper torque mount. Go ahead and slide it through. Ooh. Guess we do have a little problem here. You actually want to wait on that upper torque mount. I don't know if with a stock one you might not run into this issue, but with the Haas Sport, that little bit gets in the way. So you kind of need to scoot it aside. There we go. Tight. Tighten down these last two guys down here. Ooh, a tripod over again. Got ahead of myself. This mount has to come out so I can get that last bolt in the corner. So this upper torque mount, don't even worry about it until the very end. That upper one there. Now you can slide this beautiful torque mount in. You'll be set. And if you're doing this, get a new belt. I unfortunately don't have one on hand, so I'm gonna put this guy back in, but replacement will be done soon. Now we're gonna go ahead and fill her up with some coolant. So now let's go ahead and install the belt. This right here is the diagram. So now you're gonna double check, make sure your belt is all routed nicely. It's not gonna slip, it's all lined up, which it is. Now you're gonna go ahead and fire up the car. And yes, I am doing an oil change, so I made sure oil is in the engine. And we've got coolant. Now we're gonna let the coolant system burp. We're gonna make sure we don't have any leaks. Just make sure everything is fine. Always like to double check. So yeah. We're looking good up here, not seeing any coolant leaking. Let's raise the car up. So there's the water pump. Everything's nice and dry. It's not leaking. So let's let the car warm up and burp the system. Also, I did do the oil change. Made sure, yep, no leaks here. There we have it. No more ugly zip ties. Now we're gonna go ahead, drive the car, and then check the coolant level to make sure it is at the full mark, or to make sure the radiator is full. All right, so that finishes up the video on the water pump install on this 2013 Honda Civic Si. Here is the old one. It was still good, but just a preventative maintenance as we are going on a road trip. I would hate for this thing to start leaking on us in like Oklahoma or Texas or somewhere, and I'd have to do this on the side of the road because it would definitely not be fun. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I also tagged in the description where I got this water pump from and what tools you need to complete the job. Thanks and have a good one. Oh, and I almost forgot, stay tuned where I'm going to show you how to do a window regulator because mine does not work, so yeah, it sucks.